an NY2C exclusive podcast. You're listening to On the Call, the latest news and opinions on all things New York sports, with Joey Rinaldi and Derek Futterman. On the Call starts now.
And welcome to NY2C's On the Call. We are live from the USS Intrepid. It's USAA Media Row for the big Army-Navy matchup tomorrow at MetLife Stadium. I'm Derek Futterman, joined by Joey Rinaldi. How you doing this morning?
You know what? You made me wear a blazer. I'm wearing the blazer. As soon as I walked in, they said I look so good. It's a war crime. So
you're looking dapper today.
I may have to tone it back in front of all these military folk.
Well, it's the first time since 2002 that Army-Navy will be taking place in the New York metropolitan area. Of course, the year after 9/11, it was a very special game at Giant Stadium between the two. And Army has won 4 out of the last 5 matchups. So, Joey, you being the football aficionado that you are, what are your thoughts on the game?
I think Navy's going to lose. That's what I think.
Navy's 3-8, Army 8-3 entering this one.
But it'll be fun. The kids will have fun. Speaking of kids, the last game was in 2002, so
yes.
That means anyone born back then, legally, I can date them now. So holla your boy. Just kidding.
You're desperate, aren't you?
You know what? I'm a little desperate, but who cares? I'm as desperate as Navy is to win this game.
Oh, my God. And you're on a Navy ship.
Yes, I am.
I hope they don't hear you.
I hope so, too.
Anyway, so here at Media Row, we're going to have a lot of big guests on today, talking about the game, talking about other things they're doing in their lives. We have a lot of radio stations here, WFAN, ESPN Radio, you name it, they're here. Big event today, and we're ready to bring you the coverage live from the USS Intrepid in the heart of New York City.
Yeah, I'm still shocked that we're even allowed here. Like, did we lie and say we're NBC or something?
We're here. We're here to bring you the coverage. It's On the Call. It's NY2C. Stay tuned. More coming up next. Welcome back to NY2C's On the Call, the New York Sports Podcast. I'm Derek Futterman, joined by Joey Rinaldi. And, of course, our guest is Dan Lauria, played Vince Lombardi on Broadway. So I got to ask, you playing Vince Lombardi and now being involved here at this Army-Navy game in football, what was it like playing him as a character? And what did you see? What kind of characteristics did he evoke?
Well, everybody knows Coach Lombardi. He's next to, well, Belichick may be the only one that's close to him now.
Yeah.
But at one time, somebody accused him of being a fanatic. He won 5 championships in 7 years. He won the first 2 Super Bowls. That's why it's named him. So they called him a fanatic, and he said to the reporter, "If I have a heart attack right now, please call a fanatical doctor."
That's amazing.
That's Lombardi, you know, and he was, and it's very appropriate that we're here for the Army-Navy game because he started as a high school coach, but he coached under Red Blake at West Point. And Red Blake is the one who got him to the Mara family, and he became the offensive coordinator of the Giants. And from there, he went on to Green Bay. So there's a big connection with the Army-Navy game. And, of course, my commanding officer overseas he was then Captain Carton Fulford. He became 4-star General Fulford, and he was Roger Staubach's wide receiver. So I'm stuck in between. If I root for the Army, it's for Lombardi, and if Navy wins, it's for, Captain.
How many Army-Navy games have you attended in your life?
I've only physically been at one. I've seen a lot of them, but General Fulford probably.
And you'll be there tomorrow?
No. I'm working tomorrow. So.
Same.
Well, it's always a fun time. I know Army's won 4 out of the last 5 games. So, watching football from afar and kind of being able to play a coach like Vince Lombardi, do you ever find yourself like wanting to coach, go on the sidelines?
Well, I coached high school for a little while before, so I'm a little old for the game now. But, you always say it's changed. The game's changed so much.
Absolutely.
Everything has changed so much, yeah.
What was your best high school record as a coach?
7-1.
There we go. Okay.
That's great.
That's the Lombardi attitude. No wonder why you were to play so well. Hell yeah.
Bernie Wyatt was the head coach. He went to the University of Iowa from that, and then I went back into the acting.
So as somebody who acts in New York, lives in New York, are you from New York?
I'm from New York. I split my time with L.A. and New York.
So as a New York native, does this add extra significance for you that we're back in New York for this?
Oh yeah, definitely. And this is an important game, not because these two teams are in the top 5 or the top 25. Doesn't matter. This is the one game where affects every family in America because every family has a connection to the military, whether their father served, the son, the boy, or the girl next door. And this is one time we can have a competitiveness that's very patriotic for all. We're so divided right now. This is one of those healing things. So I bet you it'll be a big attendance.
I would think it's going to be a sellout, and especially coming out of a pandemic where we had no live sports. I mean,
right.
I have to wonder, playing a coach on Broadway and coaching yourself, what's the impact of having a crowd at these games?
Well, you can't do a theater
Yeah.
without an audience. So we're suffering through that right now, and we're doing the best we can. I mean, all the actors are being tested and masked, and during rehearsal, and then the audience has to be tested and masked. So we're doing what we can, and I'm sure people will do what they can to keep this game alive.
Absolutely. All right, Dan, thank you for joining us
Thanks
today on the call.
Thanks so much for being here.
And enjoy the game this weekend.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Take care.
And welcome back to On the Call. We're joined by Napoleon McCallum here at Media Day for Army-Navy. Napoleon, nice to have you. So I have to start, you played for Navy, you're their all-time rushing leader. What was it like being a member of the team?
Am I still the all-time rushing leader? Sheesh, I don't know anymore. It's been a long time. So I know when I was there, I had about 26 academy records, but they've done a great job. A lot of the players, the quarterbacks, they get the ball so much. They've probably beaten it, but it's fun to be back here today and get to watch the game tomorrow.
And what does it mean for you that it's back in New York after 19 years?
Wow. You know what? The whole time I played, it was in Philadelphia, and we played one game in Pasadena. And, so far, this has been fantastic. Just the experience of being in New York. We're on this great ship of Navy history, the Intrepid. So it's pretty awesome, and so really look forward to the game.
So a question, you played college football. How does it differ from the NFL? I know you were a Raider as well, so what is the difference there?
In the NFL, everybody's big, everybody's fast, everybody's great, even in practice. The hits in practice are probably equivalent to your biggest hits in college.
And I have a question. I know you said you played in 4 of these games and you've attended a couple, or probably more than a couple. What has been the most memorable Army-Navy game that stands out to you?
Well, of course, the game in California in the Rose Bowl, awesome venue. But then my senior year, that was an awesome game. My teammates after the game picked me up, put me on their shoulders. So that it was pretty awesome because I thought at the time that was going to be my last football game.
Well, didn't turn out to be that way. Now, I'd have to assume that you're going to pull for Navy tomorrow at the game. I think that's a safe assumption.
Yeah, you'd probably be pretty good. That's a pretty good guess.
Yeah. So, what are you looking forward to most about the matchup tomorrow?
You know what? I'm looking forward to both teams playing really tough. Like every Army-Navy game, those guys are going to give their heart and soul out there on the football field. They're going to leave it all out, play like it's their last game, because it is for most of them. And we should have a great game with men of character.
All right.
Wait, I got one last thing to say.
All right, go ahead.
I've been here for a while. I've been seeing a lot of Army-Navy gear. This is by far my favorite gear I've seen. How can I get this jacket? Is this on the store website, or do you have a special hookup for this?
This was a long time ago. I can't remember where the special hookup, but I've got my the ships that I served on.
Oh, wow. And the Raider logo.
And then the Raider logo, because I worked there. So yeah.
Well, this is an awesome friggin' jacket, and it's so great to talk with you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yes.
Nice talking to you
Enjoy the game
guys.
tomorrow.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Welcome back to On the Call, an NY2C exclusive podcast.
Welcome back to On the Call. We're joined by Craig Carton of WFAN. How you doing today, Craig?
How'd you guys get passes to being here today?
You don't want to know that. I do a lot of schmoozing. I said I was with NBC. We're not.
All right, I mean, you came up with something.
Well, we're here with you now, so I know you obviously are on the radio every day talking about New York sports. So what's the landscape of the New York sports world right now with the teams playing? What's your outlook kind of on what's going on?
I think right now it's probably the hope and expectation that the Mets are good. You know, that Steve Cohen spent that money wisely and they have a chance to win a World Series because the football season's over, right? This is not a huge college football town despite this amazing event for Army Navy. So I think it's looking forward because right now we all suck.
That's your question. Like, do you also feel like you're having deja vu with the Mets spending a lot of money? We're going to have a lot of great new players and nothing's going to happen?
No, I don't have deja vu over, hey, we spent a lot of money. I have deja vu over Met fans thinking, this is our year, Billy. Because every year is supposed to be our year if you're a Met fan. So that is the same thing over and over again. But, hey, listen, they got a legitimate pitcher, right? Yeah. But they're not a young team, so we'll see what they do. They'll find a way to disappoint Met fans because ultimately, that is their DNA.
How do you cope with this constant, with it going to be great, not greatness?
Drugs. Yeah.
Any recommendations?
Sour Diesel's a go-to. OG Kush, when gettable from a legal New Jersey State dispensary. No, listen, this is part of the beauty of being a sports fan, right? Like I tell Evan Roberts on the air all the time, the agita that comes with, the expectation of are we going to win this game? Are we going to win, a championship at some point? To me, is what makes sports so much fun.
Well, as a sad New York sports fan like myself, I went over there and touched the trophy just to feel what it tastes like.
What trophy?
I don't know, some Army Navy trophy.
You know what's weird about that? So you're in one of the greatest museums in the world.
Yes.
The Intrepid Sea Museum.
For sure.
The shuttle is on this boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Planes that saw legitimate action in war on this boat. The capsule that astronauts came back to Earth in from one of the Apollo missions on this boat, and you touched a trophy. Like, look around, man.
We haven't won a New York sports championship in a while. I had to feel it.
That's a real plane. That's a stupid trophy in comparison.
But they'll kick my ass if I touch with the plane, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you should touch it, but at least spend 20 minutes taking pictures and looking at it and reading about it. Something.
Unbelievable history
right?
here.
Even if that were the Super Bowl trophy, look around you. This is American history, alive and well for us to enjoy. That's a trophy.
So on that note, what does it mean then to have Army Navy back in New York? First time since 2002. Big game tomorrow at MetLife.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I don't even remember being at MetLife or I guess Giants Stadium prior to that.
Yeah.
It's such a rare sporting event where you don't pick sides, but you watch it as if you did have a side. Army Navy, they could both come into this game winless, and the game would still mean everything. It would kind of be like a Super Bowl event. And I'm always amazed at the dedication that the young men and women have that are in the military academies. But on top of that, to have the responsibility to try to go out there and play football at a high level. I mean, it's awesome. These are the best and brightest of America, and it's just great to be a small part of it.
I have one more question. I'm a degenerate. Do you have any hot tips about Army Navy? Anyone to bet on?
All right, so you just asked an admitted compulsive gambler to give you gambling advice.
I need anything. I'm a sucker.
So the answer is don't gamble. All right, don't do it. A, you're not smart enough to win. B, look how you're dressed. If you won, you wouldn't wear this ensemble. Those are like 1973 Stan Smiths that Stan Smith rejected himself. Save your money. Instead of putting money on a game, put it in a jar. And at the end of every month, look at how much money's in that jar. That's your money. All right?
No need to bet it elsewhere.
Yeah,
right?
why don't you ask an alcoholic where you can get a drink?
Yo, I've been looking for a drink. Is there a bar here? They have a turkey sandwich. That's about it.
Yeah, but again, you're not supposed to be here, so I wouldn't go take the free food.
Welcome
Welcome back to On the Call, joined by Ross Tucker. So Ross, Army-Navy for the first time since 2002 is back in the New York metro area. You being from Princeton, what is the significance of that?
Well, I think the significance obviously is just what happened 20 years ago. And what's amazing, because I do all the Army games, home games on television, some of these kids weren't even born. And I don't even know how old you guys are. You guys probably weren't even born back then. It's unbelievable to think that there are people that don't remember it. So my wife was in one of the towers that morning, and she actually left for a meeting at like 8:45 before everything happened, but was still down there. And so I think it's great that they have it here in New York. I think it's a good time to remember what happened and to remember that we all need to be in this together. And to me, that's what the Army-Navy game represents. We have such a divisive society, political polarization. I can't stand any of that stuff, which is why Army-Navy game is my favorite day of the year, because it's the one day where, for whatever reason, it's like you can exhale and just say, all right, we're going to be all right. We're all on this together.
Well, that was such a beautiful answer. I feel awkward with my next question because I know you have a gambling.
So who do you think's better on 3rd and 1?
I know, well, close. I know you have a gambling podcast, and as a degenerate, I need to know any hot tips for tomorrow.
You know, so I don't really give out tips on games I'm calling, in the sense that like I won't make a pick, right?
Blink twice if actually bet on Navy.
No.
I'm
What I
kidding.
would tell you in all sincerity is, I think it'll be a close competitive game. I might be wrong, but I think it'll be a close competitive game. So you can take that and run with it. I've seen the stories about it's like 15 years in a row it's gone under or something crazy, which is amazing. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Navy has a really tough schedule. Navy's played much better the last couple games. That gives me faith that it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, well, Army's won 4 out of the last 5, so it should be a great time tomorrow. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't even know what contraption is that guy has, but that contraption and that dude, that should be the star of the show. Not you or me.
I'll take a step back.
Contraption dude is amazing over there.
Our producer also agrees.
Yes, that's crazy.
All right, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Welcome back to On the Call, the New York Sports Podcast. Today joined by Rob Braggs, West Point graduate. And I have to start off by asking, first time since 2002, Army-Navy is going to be taking place in the New York metro area. What is the significance of having the game back here in the city?
Wow, super significant. I mean, one of the things that comes to mind is obviously how we respond in times of emergency. Obviously, a 9/11 happened. And so the cadets who are on the field, we're keeping in mind what happened 20 years ago and how they are themselves playing a part of that going forward as people who will serve our country. So really, really big deal.
And we heard that you have a son who's a graduate from Army, and he's going to be on the field tomorrow?
No, so I have a daughter who's a graduate, but I have a son who's a freshman.
My bad.
No worries. And, I have so many kids, I always forget myself. And so he'll be out there tomorrow marching on with his classmates, cheering on the Army game. And what's really cool is, growing up as my kid, he watched a ton of Army-Navy games. And so for the first time, he gets to be on the field as a cadet. So really awesome to see that.
And as somebody who has a huge family involved with West Point and Army and Navy, what does this game mean to you guys as a family?
I think it's just symbolic about what it means to be to serve the country. You go on the field and it's a game. After the game, you'll see people singing alma maters on both sides to both academies, and then when they graduate, they're going to go out and serve with each other. And so, for me, it's a source of pride because it reminds me of what the commitment is to be at the academy. And then on this day, everyone else in the world gets to see the same thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, again, very special event, first time since 2002, and it should be a fun game. Just being a military member, though, and being able to do that march every year. I mean, Army-Navy, with coming back from a pandemic where the access was so limited, what does it mean to be able to gather together again in this kind of a setting tomorrow?
It's awesome. The game was last year at West Point.
Yeah.
No fans. It was different. It didn't have that same feel, that same source of energy. And so I'm super excited to see the stadium tomorrow because I know it'll be full of people rooting Army on. Go Army! And And I'm just glad that we're at a point where we can get together again and celebrate America's game.
And we're back on the Call, the New York Sports Podcast, here with Susan Marenoff, president of the Intrepid. And it's a pleasure being here today on this historical Navy ship. The first time that Army-Navy is in the New York metro area since 2002. So I have to ask, what does it mean to you to have the game back in the New York area?
First of all, how great is this overall, right? So
really cool event.
Here we are. We honor our heroes, educate the public, inspire our youth. And to have this rivalry here and all the excitement that surrounds it, it complements everything we believe in.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an unbelievable thing. Joey, you want to add anything there?
Yeah, I just I'm tongue-tied. I had a dumb question, but now I feel stupid asking. I was going to ask you, since you are in charge of this, do you ever get to do any joyrides with any of these awesome aircrafts you got here?
I would say it would be a little challenging, considering that we have to take all of the fuel out of all the aircraft. And we have to decommission everything, and if you wanted to take the Intrepid out for a ride, it no longer has any working engines and its propellers are off. So it would be a real struggle. You'd have to get several tugs to take it. But I will tell you, it is a joy to work here, and we have some fascinating artifacts, but more so we have amazing people, amazing former crew members, and between them being able to tell their stories, their personal stories, and us tying it into what these incredible artifacts are and teaching our kids STEM education through that lens, we are all about technology and innovation and history, and it's really a beautiful place to be.
So what makes having the Army-Navy game back now and having the Intrepid be a part of it so special?
Well, first of all, obviously it's a Navy ship, right?
Yes.
And of course, Marines served on here too, but it's a Navy ship. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm wearing a pin from my dad's time in service with the Army. So I kind of span both
you're conflicted
sides.
then.
So I'm a little conflicted for sure. But again, having the ability to have this platform here help to honor our heroes and really, once again, profile the excitement, the rivalry, the fact that we are able to talk about these men and women that serve our country to protect our freedoms and be able to do it with such joy and such gratitude at the same time, I think that's pretty special.
Joined now by Dean at West Point and General Shane Reeves. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I have to start off by asking, for the first time since 2002, the Army-Navy game's back here in the New York metro area. What does it mean to have the game here?
Oh, it's almost hard to articulate. I mean, it's 11 miles from the ashes that ground from Ground Zero, where the horrific acts of 9/11 took place. And so having it that close to where Ground Zero took place, and having the Army team have the uniforms that they do, which is to represent Task Force Dagger, which was a joint task force of special operators that came together in October 2001 to respond on behalf of the United States, it's very meaningful. The other part of it, though, is that it's not just a celebration of what happened in the past. It really is also a celebration of what's going on in the future of our country. I mean, these cadets are young. Most of them don't remember 9/11 or weren't alive when 9/11 took place. And so for them, all they see is the Freedom Tower, the 1,776-foot tower that represents the resilience of the United States. It's going to be seen from the stadium. And all those kids that are out there, and I say kids because they're young, but they are cadets and midshipmen, they're going to be future officers that are out there competing on that field or in the stands, are from the best parts of our country. Like, they come from every state, they come from every background, and they all come together for one single purpose, which is to serve the nation. So it means a lot to both the academies. It means a lot to our respective services, whether it's the United States Army, the United States Navy, but I think it means a lot to the nation too.
And how many of these games have you attended in your life?
Oh my gosh. I don't know exact numbers right now, but it's been a lot. Like, I went to all when I was a cadet. When I was a cadet, we never lost. We beat Navy all 4 years by a grand total of 6 points over those 4 games, culminating in my senior year. So when you're a senior at West Point, you're called a firstie. My first year, we were losing. We were driving. It was 4th and 24. Our quarterback, named Ronnie Makeda, who's a great guy. I didn't even know he could throw 24 yards. Right? And so he completes a pass, and we're like, oh my God.
Wow.
And we end up driving in to win the game. And so it means a lot when you win. And then I've been to, probably 10 or 12 since then over a long period of time. So it's been great.
That was amazing the way you just recapped that game. Why are you not in the press box? Why are you not doing the play-by-play?
Because it gets scarred in your memory. I mean, these things are these games matter. I mean, just similar to that is the scarred in my memory is we went through a 14-year losing streak.
Oh man!
When we finally broke the streak, I was gone for that year. I was not at home for the year. I was deployed. And so when we won, I called my brother, who's a West Point graduate, and I called my son, who was attending. I'm like, so what's it like there? What's going on? They're like, the stadium is literally rocking, like it's physically moving. I'm like, that's awesome. That is awesome.
So how does it feel to be 8-3 right now?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, like I will tell you, I've been on the other end of this. I've been where we've had some rough seasons.
You've been 3-8.
I have been 3-8. At one point was like, hey, things are looking up. We've had some rough seasons over my life, right? And so being 8-3 is phenomenal. I'm a big college football guy, and Coach Monken has done amazing things with this team, turning around year in and year out, producing a very consistent and successful team. And the thing I'm most proud of is how the team always is disciplined, and they're probably going to play harder than whoever they play. So it feels good. It'll feel a lot better when we're 9-3 after tomorrow, though.
Yeah,
right?
Army's won.
The Commander-in-Chief trophy it's already staying with West Point, but I just want to make sure it stays there for a long time.
Army's won 4 or 5, so certainly things are looking good for Army tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to On the Call, an NY2C exclusive podcast.
We're joined by the president of Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment, John Abbamondi. How you doing today, John?
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Good. So you're a military veteran yourself, and the game being back in New York, what is the significance of having Army-Navy back here in the area?
I mean, it's great for the city. It's great for the country. This is a patriotic city, and we're here aboard the USS. Oh my gosh, I almost misspoke.
Intrepid.
I was telling stories about my Navy days. I almost said USS Independence, which is a different carrier. But here aboard the USS Intrepid. And it's such a great event. It's America's game, as you know, and just excited to see the kids play their hearts out on Saturday.
It should definitely be a great
I would
time.
love to know, how is serving in the Navy similar to running a basketball organization? is there crossover?
I mean, I think there's some parallels, I mean, I was a naval officer when I was much younger, in my early 20s, right out of college. But, it taught me a lot. It taught me about dealing with pressure and making decisions with imperfect information, and how to lead people and how to be a good teammate. So some of those general foundational lessons about, frankly, being an adult, and were really formative for me.
What's tougher, drill sergeant or unruly New York fans?
Definitely New York fans.
Yeah, I mean, while we're here with you, we got to ask about the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, they're first in the Eastern Conference right now, championship aspirations, led by Kevin Durant. What is it like having a player he's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? What is it like having him lead the Brooklyn Nets?
I mean, Kevin, in my opinion, is the greatest player in the world today, and so we're super fortunate to have him as a Net, and not only have him as a Net now, but to have him agree to stay on for many years to come and hopefully retire as a Brooklyn Net. So I think it's a great message to our fans in Brooklyn that we're here to stay, and we plan on making a mark on this league for years to come.
Absolutely. Joey, you got another?
I don't know how much you want to get into it. I can talk about Brooklyn basketball all day long. There's so many fringe players I'm so proud of, like Bruce Brown right now and Brenbury. I was wondering, is there any fringe players that you're just very proud of that are working out right now?
I think I would echo you with Bruce, and not only is he impactful on the court, but also off the court. And whether it's interacting with our fans or the stuff that he does in the community, he's a favorite.
Is the rumor that Cam Thomas beat Kevin Durant one-on-one? Do you have any secret source proving that's true or not?
I have no firsthand knowledge of that.
So I have to ask, Steve Nash is running the team. He's in his second season. What parallels do you draw, kind of you being a leader in your Navy days, and now with the Brooklyn Nets and BSC? What parallels do you draw with him and yourself?
I think that whatever business you're in, mentorship is so important. Mentorship and coaching, and so you talk about the military earlier and the mentorship that young sailors and soldiers get from their mentors. And you see it with our players, and you think about somebody like Cam Thomas and how lucky he has to have a Hall of Famer like Steve around to learn and grow from. So we're fortunate to have Steve as part of our organization, and he's doing an amazing job.
All right, well, John, thank you for joining us today, and it should be a great Army-Navy game and hopefully a great rest of the year for Brooklyn Nets basketball.
All right,
sure.
Go Nets and go Navy. Beat Army.
Yeah, let's go. Nets Navy, baby.
Welcome back to On the Call, the New York Sports Podcast. Today we're joined by Master Chief Petty Officer of the United States Navy, Russell Smith. Nice to have you here, Russell.
Afternoon. How are you?
Doing well. So, having Army-Navy back in New York area for the first time since 2002, what does it mean to have a game of that magnitude back here?
Well, we've historically played most of our games in Philadelphia, but, taking it to a different venue and going to a different place gives a whole new segment of our nation an opportunity to see it that wouldn't otherwise get to, and to share in some of the pageantry and some of the other things associated with the biggest rivalry in sport, I think is amazing.
And we've been talking to a lot of Army people today, and they were all kind of trash talking, saying that you guys are underdogs. And I want to hear your response. How do you feel about tomorrow's game?
No, when you look at the record, when you look at the statistics, you are obviously going to put Navy as an underdog. That's absolute. That's perfectly fair. However, at Army-Navy, we have always found that both teams find a different gear to play. And I would be a little bit surprised if Army was not surprised at the end of the game.
I love that. And you've been to a bunch of games, I imagine.
I've been coming regularly since 2011, and when I was at the academy from 13 to 16, obviously I was on the sidelines in a very different perspective of the game.
So I want to ask, what's like the most memorable memory or game you have going to these games?
Well, for my Army friends out there, that would probably have to be in 2012 when Army fumbled on the 2 about to score and then lost the game.
We heard about that.
But actually, I think one of the most memorable games for me on the sidelines was when it was snowing, and the night before, the superintendent said something about Navy was sure to lose because it was going to be foul weather. And I think he forgets that 25% of the Naval Academy become Marine Corps officers. We do have things like SEALs and Seabees, and those used to working in outdoor inclement environments. So not to mention those U.S. Navy sailors every day who work on ships in the high north and other places where the weather is not so favorable. And we won by a large margin, actually the largest margin I think either side has won by in a very long time.
I have a last goofy question to ask you. Sure. I heard that you advocate for all sailors all over America. I was once a sailor for Halloween. Would you advocate for me as well?
If you're wearing the uniform, we'll advocate for you.
I'll take it.
Well, thank you for joining us, and best of luck tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Sure to be a big game.
Both teams are winners at the end of the game.
That was quite a day here at USAA Media Day for Army versus Navy. The game, of course, taking place tomorrow, 3 o'clock p.m. at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey.
It was a great day because we got to meet some sports people, some Navy, Army people, and I got some hot and some cold betting tips. But more importantly, I eventually found food and had a great turkey sandwich.
And of course, we thank everyone here for taking the time to speak with us, and those in the military, thank you for your service. We're always very appreciative of that. Again, the first time the Army-Navy game is in New York since 2002, tomorrow at MetLife Stadium. And that'll do it for this week's episode of On the Call. You can catch us each and every week over on NY2C.com or listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Derek Futterman. That's Joey Rinaldi. Joey, do your thing.
Adios, knuckleheads. Bye. Bye. Bye.
On the Call. New episodes every week. Available wherever you get your podcasts and online at ny2c.com.